All right, Monday evening. Everything should be working here relatively soon. Let me just make certain that everything is where it needs to be. Decently quiet again for right now. Into the next couple of days, probably going to be seeing some up and down temperatures once again, with the potential for maybe some more problems with snow and rain farther off down the line, but really just not picking up too much of anything for right now. After our last winter storm moved on out, there's really just not that much going on, with the exception, again, of some decent amounts of cold conditions across much of the area. It's pretty frigid out there right now. Granted, not like what you'd get up in Canada, the Great Lakes, or the far wide American North, but it is pretty cold for this time of the year. No question about that. All right, looks like we're online and going, so we'll go ahead and welcome you to Weather Overtime for Monday, the 26th of January, 2026. Hope everybody's had a very good evening. Again, if you're here and want to ask questions on Weather Overtime, please do so at our YouTube page and or my Twitch page. You can search me out there. Keeping an eye on the forecast. Again, if you can't stick around for everything, 7-day forecast is up in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And if you'd like to get more information about what's going on here, all you have to do is go to our website, again, down at the bottom at wdef.com/weather. Stop by and say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're from at the very least, and we'll give you an idea as to what's going on with the forecast. There's technically not a lot happening for tonight except for the temperatures. We have nothing on radar. Our latest storm system is basically out of the picture and not going to be seeing any problems for any time soon. From downtown, a fairly busy place into the early portions of Saturday and Sunday as the storm system rolled on through. But as of tonight, the TVA building back down toward the public library and around Market and Broad Streets, everything is very much on the quiet side. The problem we're going to have is in these sheltered areas that picked up some of this moisture. We could be looking at some travel problems into the morning. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. We're in the teens as of just before 10 o'clock. It's about 10 till 10 Eastern time on Monday. Healthy northwest wind, very cold numbers. We've got single-digit wind chills, and even lower than that will be expected into the course of the rest of the forecast tonight and again into around early tomorrow. Current temperatures right before the top of the hour, it's 8 degrees above 0 Fahrenheit in Altamont. Everybody else back in the teens. Rome, Georgia, west central Georgia, you're the warmest spot right now at 23 degrees, even near the News 12 viewing area. And back to the north, this entire area here is being cooled off by the snow that fell across the region into the last several days. So the winds coming out of the northwest tonight going right over that snowpack, and that is why we are so much on the colder side than what we have seen into the course of the last few days. Now, we do not have, again, as I said, anything really going on at this point in time. This, again, the colder area, you see the satellite radar, the satellite infrared scan is not showing anything here in the way of cloud cover. This is just detecting this very cold mass on the ground and translating a lot of this as snowfall as cloud cover. So we're not seeing anything really going on, and radar is a complete and total clean sweep for now. We've got a new storm system on the way from the north, and that'll be passing through in the next couple of days. It is surrounded by high pressure. It's very dry, so there's not much that's going to be affecting that. But for tonight, the big thing is going to be, again, coming this direction. This is our last storm system right off the east coast, and that, again, is going to be heading out into the Atlantic and up toward the Canadian Maritimes, where it is not a problem for us. Some lingering snow around Boston, New England, and up toward the state of Maine tonight, but beyond that, there's just really not that much going on. Now, for tonight, there are no watches, advisories, warnings in effect of any type. No winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, winter storm warnings, no ice storm warnings. We are completely and totally clear from all of that in the way of precipitation. we do have a problem with cold weather advisories taking place at this time for all of the News 12 viewing area. In these locations here, including Hamilton County and Chattanooga, wind chills could make their way down to -5. That, again, is going to be pretty doggone cold to begin with. We also have what are called extreme cold warnings in effect. The only county right now in the News 12 viewing area affected by this is Grundy County. For the Plateau area, the Cumberland Plateau, Middle Tennessee, we've got this extreme cold warning in effect also for parts of the Appalachians. This means that areas here, these counties, could experience the possibility of wind chills. In the rest of the area, -5. In the dark blue shaded counties, we could see even below that to about -20. So we're looking at some dangerous wind chills to have across the area through tonight and into the course of the morning tomorrow. Now, for right now, as you just saw on News 12, we do have the problem with, again, the wind chills taking place, and there are, again, the potential for more in the way of anything going on in the way of being outdoors for everything happening tonight. Again, if you have to be out and about early in the morning, this is where it could really be a bit of a problem. So we could see, again, the potential for more problems out there into the rest of the forecast. I want to mention this really quickly as, again, we see the potential of this going on. Yours truly from earlier tonight, but most importantly, where we have the ticker on here when we get done with everything taking place in weather, you will see the school closings going on here. And this is important if you want to keep track of what's going on with closings. You can see that here. You can also go to our website and go to wdef.com/weather and click on closings and delays. Now, as of 10 o'clock, we have gotten a number of closings because of the fact that we have that cold air coming through there. That does include Hamilton County Schools, good for those of you who are watching, and a number of other schools and churches and daycare centers and colleges. A lot of places will be closed up, and this was updated just as of about 5 minutes ago as we record this. So again, check our website, wdef.com/weather/closings-delays. And that will get you, again, directly to the information on this page to keep you updated as, again, to what is going on. So please keep that in mind as we continue to monitor for the potential of more cold weather out there for tonight. This, again, is going to be the danger category out there for this evening. Now, we also have a special weather statement from the National Weather Service in Morristown, which covers a good portion of southeast Tennessee and western North Carolina. The area is shaded here. A special weather statement is issued when a situation demands it. It doesn't have to be severe weather. It could be a lead up to severe weather. It could be about heat. It could be about wildfires. It could be about XYZ. In this case, it's talking about the potential for black ice. Whatever melted today, even though the temperatures were mainly below freezing, if there was enough sunlight coming down on the asphalt, the pavement, the concrete someplace, that warm temperature, that energy from the sun would have melted the ice or snow into liquid water. Now that the temperatures are well below freezing, a lot of that water will flash freeze in place. And the problem is that a lot of that water is so clear, if it's not mixed with things like salt or pollution or dust or dirt, it's going to be very, very difficult to see farther on. And it's called black ice for a reason, in that when you look ahead and start skidding, you'll be on black ice before you can recognize it a lot of the time, because your eyes don't differentiate the ice from the pavement because it looks just like dry pavement. And that's why this weather statement has been issued, to make certain that you, the driver, are paying attention to what is going on. The temperature, again, combined with the potential of very slick conditions, especially in some of these higher elevation switchback road type areas, we could be looking at a lot of accidents into Tuesday morning. Chip Chapman will have your forecast on that. But again, you've got the potential problem from icing and from the colder temperatures out there, so please use caution. Now, for the rest of the week, there is really Not that much going on when it comes to anything involving huge amounts of precipitation coming up anytime soon. We would love, excuse me, everybody here at News 12 is getting over some form of cold or flu or something out there. So everybody's got a catch in the throat and a very dry speaking voice, unfortunately. We would love to turn the camera around at Island Cove to give you a better view, taking a look at the sunset or the marina. Can't do that because the temperatures have frozen the camera in place, so we can't even turn it one direction or another to give you an idea as to what's going on out there. So a beautiful view nonetheless of Lake Chickamauga, Tennessee 58, the traffic out there, but beyond that, maybe a day or two before we can actually view the camera at another angle. Temperatures will make their way into the 40s, and only the 40s, and only the low 40s for that matter, by Thursday. Then as we get into Thursday, Friday, early Saturday, new front drops on through. That will give us some cloud cover, but too dry all the way through the forecast here to give us anything but just a few clouds. Notice also the temperatures knock off into the weekend to the high 20s and back in the teens again after lows in the lower 20s. So we've got one of the coldest weeks of the year starting off. Again, record cold tonight. We've got to go a lot lower than this to break any or tie any records. So as of right now, we're not seeing any major records being tied or broken, but nonetheless, it's going to be very cold across much of the area. So again, a great opportunity to make certain you are staying safe, make certain your heat is on, and stay safe with those space heaters out there. Follow good heating practices for inside your home. Avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. Get yourself a carbon monoxide detector just to be on the safe side, because these numbers barely into the lower 40s, that's about 10 to 15 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year, all the way through into the next several days. So little, if anything, going to be changing anytime soon with this. Very dry, no question about that, but also, again, seeing temperatures quite on the low side. Again, January, February, this can be the coldest time of the year, so that's something that we really do have to pay attention to for right now. We also want to recommend and remind you that this is severe weather season, January through April, and just because we've got winter weather now does not mean we have skipped over severe weather season. So we want to make certain everybody's paying attention to Skywarn training and your opportunity to get trained as a Skywarn spotter. Volunteer spotters work with the National Weather Service. They're trained by the data and the programs about Skywarn from the National Weather Service, paid for by your tax dollars and my tax dollars. And this is a great opportunity, again, to learn about all of this. Now, because a lot of the National Weather Service offices were hit hard by the Department of Government Efficiency in the last year or so, their ranks were decimated, their programs were preempted, if not outright cut out, because a certain project felt that too many National Weather Service offices and NOAA offices talked about climate change. So naturally, the smartest idea for that project is to gut the safety of the United States by, again, cutting the programs that keep everybody in the United States safer. It makes no sense. It never did make sense. I wish somebody would make it make sense, but it doesn't make sense that because some people don't like the term climate change, we have to gut entire programs idiotically and absolutely backwardsly. The way we do things on this situation is terrible. It wastes money. It makes people less safe. It was the wrong decision at the wrong time. At any time, it was the wrong decision. But unfortunately, the problem is we now have less National Weather Service offices and personnel to teach the Skywarn training sessions. So, as amateur radio operators have been known to do, they step up when it matters. When all else fails, amateur radio works. It is not just a hobby for freaks, geeks, and tweakers. It is a real hobby. I'm an amateur radio operator. I've been one for a quarter century, and I will gladly promote it because I want to make certain that everybody knows that it's a wonderful hobby. The group of the Chattanooga Amateur Radio Club is holding a Skywarn spotter training session. They're going to use the information from the National Weather Service to teach part of the course to let you know about, again, what needs to go on. That will be held for Chattanooga and around Hamilton County for residents around that area this coming Saturday, 10 a.m. at the Harrison Community Center in Harrison, Tennessee. If you would like to register, it's totally free, but if you could please give them a head count, please do so at w4am.net. And while you're there, find out more about the hobby of amateur radio, how you can get involved, how you can get your kids or your grandkids involved. If you're a teacher, you could become an amateur radio operator and find a way to use that type of situation in your classroom. You could use it for safety and electronics, for physics and science. You could use it for social sciences to talk about communication from people around the world and why that is so important, and about law and about why we have laws regarding things like communication between different countries for friendly communication, and why the history of this is so very important to take a look at. Thank you very much to Chattanooga Amateur Radio Club for putting this program on. Again, this is this coming Saturday, the 31st, the last day of the month, 10 o'clock Eastern Time in the morning, Harrison Community Center, and your opportunity to find out more, but please register at w4am.net. Your opportunity to find out more. This one is a little bit more on the personal side, and I told my wife that I would speak about this because this is very near and dear to her from a very long time ago. Starting off, I just wanted to get a picture of a couple of landmarks here. This is from my hometown of Topeka, Kansas. This is on the west side of Topeka. This is Interstate 70, Wanamaker Road. If you keep going west on I-70, basically the next stop is Denver. So a lot of open and rural territory between here and there, with a few stops along the way. This area, the Blue Cross Blue Shield campus, the landscaping has a couple of ponds through here, and you can see the reflection of the ponds on the water. The temperature there is much colder tonight than what it is here. My mom's house is about a quarter of a mile from this intersection, just back to the southeast. And if you're heading through Topeka anytime soon, please wave hello. The water here is frozen. You can see again those lights reflecting off the water and that stripe of white through there, showing that the water is again frozen over. I want to show this camera again. I usually check on this camera to see what it's like back in my hometown and tell my mom to be safe if there's weather coming in, things like that. But most importantly, I want to make certain everybody's paying attention to this. My wife had a student in her class back when we were in Memphis. She worked in a town north of Memphis called Bartlett, and one of her students was out and about during the winter season. This is better part of 10, 12 years ago. He was out with his friends messing around on a frozen pond or creek someplace, joking around with his friends, and one of them, her students, fell through the ice. They tried to get him out. They couldn't. They had to get rescuers to come and get him. And by the time they got to him, he had already suffered a traumatic brain injury from being in the water and being so cold, and he never really recovered from that. So my wife would like to make certain, and this is something that I like to do as well since I learned about this back in Boy Scouts, that if you don't know how deep the ice is, you can test it with a stick or a rock or something like that. But cracker thin ice that is not safe to walk on, assuming that it will be safe to walk on further on, is also a bad idea. And you should not get on the ice until you get to about 4 inches thick. This information, again, from the National Weather Service right here and from the authorities. You can catch any of this information from the colder states, Maryland, Vermont, Minnesota, a very good place for ice fishing. It has to be at least 4 inches thick for anybody to go out on. Cracker thin ice of 2 to 3 inches less than that, that is not enough to support your weight. Now tomorrow, as we showed you, a lot of people are going to be out of school. A lot of kids are going to probably go out and wander around and see how wonderful winter weather is for a little bit, but this must as a parent, be preached to the kids. Stay off the ice. The ice around here is not thick enough to do anything like this. Walking, skating, even sitting, and it's only going to take one fall right through there for you to be plunged into water which is just barely above freezing. That can kill you easily enough. That is something that, again, my wife has been to as a teacher entirely too many funerals in her entire life, and she doesn't want to ever have to go to another one ever again. And so to get the word out about this, to make certain that everybody is paying attention on this, please, if you have kids or relatives that are young enough for this, absolutely, again, making certain that they know that going out on a patch of ice just to see, again, if it's thick enough or just because your friends dared you to, absolutely not. Make certain they know to stay away from that. Throwing rocks on the ice, poking through it with a stick from the shore, okay, fine. Walking on it and going out as far as you can because somebody dared you to, abso-friggin-lutely not. No, absolutely not. Please don't let them do that because the consequences can be, again, dramatic and deadly, and nobody wants to hear about something like this happening again. So again, it may be frozen over. You may have a lot of ice reflections out there. It may look pretty. You may want to give it a test just because you can. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Again, if you get into that water, you are as good as gone, and that is something that you do not want to have on your conscience. You want to make certain everybody says, okay, do not do this. This is very important. So please have your kids stay off the ice. It is not thick enough around here. Hasn't had enough time to build up to, again, something safe like 4 inches or more than that to support cars. You got to be almost a foot somewhere in there. So 2 to 3 inches even, stay off of it. It's not worth it. It's deadly, and it's not going to help anybody on there. I think we've covered everything again for tonight. Want to, let's see, do something extracurricular here. So let's take a look and see. Oh, yes, this is good. Our HEP heating weather window picture of the day. Kind of hard to see with the spotlight in there. Turn that off for just a second, and you can see the icicles forming on the front post lamp out in the front yard there. Thank you very much, News 12 viewer David Bailey from Signal Mountain, for a beautiful view there. Thanks a lot to everybody for sending in some absolutely amazing pictures. Always great to be able to see what you're seeing out there. For tonight downtown, the Tennessee Aquarium on the Chattanooga weather web camera. Very quiet, hardly anybody out and about tonight with that very cold weather down around Aquarium Way. If you have pictures, email them to us, drop them to social media, or again, go to wdef.com/photos if you'd like to send some of those pictures in. We would absolutely love to see those, so go ahead and send those in to us as soon as you possibly can, and we'd be glad to have your pictures on there. Think that should just about do it for tonight. Again, that pretty well covers everything going on. Again, no winter weather inbound at this point in time that we really need to be concerned about, but at this time of the year, we want to make certain that everybody is paying attention to the most dangerous situation regarding what may be heading our way. So please use caution, especially in the morning. Make certain everybody's bundled up. Please check out, again, the closings that are available on our website at wdef.com/weather. Great opportunity to keep up to date with what is going on there. And Chip, will have more on the forecast early on Tuesday morning starting at 5 a.m. So please make certain you tune in for more information there. And again, thanks to everybody for keeping an eye on the weather situation by tuning in here to our weather blog. Glad to have you along, and thanks a lot for, again, promoting this out there as much as you possibly can. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onig. Thanks for joining us for Monday's Weather Overtime. Please be safe. Watch out for black ice. Dress warmly and in layers if you have to go out. I got to walk the dog later on tonight, so I've got to make certain that everybody's bundled up before we head out again. Please use caution out there, and again, tune in for Chip's forecast coming up bright and early on Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us, and keep